Hello folks, welcome back to the Shoogly Shed. I'm Ewan. We're in the garage again with the GS500, and as you saw last time I got the tank painted up. It's still curing a little bit. The paint's taking quite a long time to dry, and I think it's just the number of coats I did were quite heavy, and then the clear coat on top of it. I think it's just taking a while for all those layers of paint to really cure properly. It's touch dry and stuff, and you can pick it up and things, but I'm worried it's a little bit soft, so I don't want to do any kind of serious polishing to it until it's properly cured. So in the meantime, the other thing I was waiting on was the rear light, which has arrived. The rear light I've chosen for this is just a regular kind of single bulb spotlight sort of thing on the back, and just mount it to the rear mudguard. So that's pretty much what I'm going to do today. So this is it. Get out of the box. That is pretty much it. It's really basic and straightforward, and that's pretty much the style I wanted. Nice kind of shape to it. It's good aluminium, nice and solid, good feel to it, and it's a bulb. The reason I've opted for a bulb is basically you can replace the bulb with an LED bulb at some point if you really want to, but with LED rear lights, if any of the LEDs fail, then your light is pretty much fit for the bin, unless you're very good at soldering. And I haven't had a lot of luck with LED lights in the past, in particular just lights being really dull. And I remember I put an LED light on my old GS and I let someone have a shot of it, and then riding behind them I couldn't even see when they were braking, it was that dull. So I decided that unless you're going to spend big bucks on a really bright LED rear light, bulb is the best thing to go when you're trying to keep your budget tight. Like I say, you can always upgrade that bulb to an LED bulb at some point if you want to, but as is, it's plenty bright enough, and for the money, that is a pretty nice wee unit. I'm not sure if I've actually shown the rear mudguard before. This was actually mudguard off the XS250 that I chopped down and slimmed down. It's nice solid metal. I did a bit of bodywork to it, filled out some dents and gave it a spray, and it's looking pretty nice now. I've also got this edging trim on it, which is just kind of completes the look, and I quite like that sort of pie crust look to it, which I'm pretty pleased with. So I've also got a little LED indicators fitted here, just these tiny wee ones. I talked about them in the cost breakdown video. They are so bright for the size, so I'm really pleased with them. So this basically is going to be mounted here on the mudguard, just to the side like that. I need to get it central, obviously, and I want to figure out what kind of position I want to have it in. This isn't adjustable angle wise, so if I have it further down the mudguard, it'll be pointing more towards the ground. Further back, it'll be pointing more towards the sky. So I need to figure out the best placement for it first, and find a central point down the bike, drill a hole, mount it, and then run the cables into the electrics tray and get it all hooked up and test it. Okay, I've marked the centre of the frame there, and marked the distance that I wanted, and then measured out between the centre point of the mudguard, which comes out roughly here. So right in the centre of that cross is where I want to drill. I don't really want to have to drill 2 holes, because if I drill 2 holes, I have to fill an old hole. So let's get this right first time. This is actually very unlike me to do such a thorough job of measuring things. I'm really an eyeball kind of guy, and that's not always to say that that goes well. So I want to get this nice and straight, so you're looking down the back of the bike, it doesn't look like your light's off to a weird angle, so let's go and get some drill bits. Going to start off with a small bit to make a center hole. Always try and drill with a small bit first, because it helps the bigger drill bit and prevents it wandering. So a small little pilot hole, and then we'll size it up to the 10mm that the mounting bolt is. Okay, so we're mounted up. It's nice and straight, like the license plate. Nice and straight, in the middle, job's a good one. It just sits just above the level there, so I quite like that. It's nice and low profile. When the seat goes on, it'll sit below that profile, which is kind of what I wanted. So yeah, I think that suits the style of the bike quite well. Next thing to do is to wire it in. So excuse the not overly neat electrics tray, but see, when you're just creating a loom from scratch for the first time, trying to get everything totally neat is so hard, and neatness of this kind of thing is just not really my forte, but I know where everything goes. I've got a wiring diagram, all the colours are correct, so hey, if it makes sense to me, that's what matters, right? I have the indicators plugged in here with two plugs. There's an earth and a live, and then I've got this plug wired in, perfect for the rear light. So if you've never wired a rear light in before, there are 3 cables. First one's an earth, the second one is a brake light, and third one's a tail light. So it obviously earths through the earth cable, and then when you have your lights on, this bike has running lights, so when you turn the ignition on, the rear light will come on. And then there's basically 2 filaments in the bulb, so the first filament will light, and then when you activate a brake switch, so your front brake or your rear brake switch, the brake light will come on, which is the second filament, and that will light up. So both filaments will be lit. So to a driver driving behind you or another rider, they'll see that your rear light gets brighter as you brake, just as a warning light, to let people know that you're slowing down. I always try and have some kind of like fairly visible brake light on a motorbike. I know a lot of the trends are for really small minimalistic lights, but a brake light, especially on a motorcycle, is really critically important. Although obviously it needs to have one to be on the road, one that's actually visible and functioning. Like I said, the one I had on a bike a wee while ago, you could barely see it. And if you get rear-ended on a motorcycle because the person behind you couldn't see that you were braking, I mean, you're going to end up worse than the car driver. So I really do try and fit some kind of brake light that actually functions and is bright enough to see in the daylight as well as the night. So what I need to do is, this one comes with these bullet connectors. I don't need these. I want to create a plug that can plug into this socket. So I need to chop these off, put some connectors on, put a block connector on, and then run it through the battery box and plug it in and test it. For anyone that was alarmed in the first start video with regards to my organisation of my electrical sundries, you can sleep easy at night now knowing that I went to a popular discount supermarket with a Scottish name, Aldi, and bought this organiser. Look at the organisation. Wow. If only it had been like this when I started wiring the bike. That made things a bit easier. Anyway, either way, what I'm looking for is, conveniently, a block connector with 3 connections for the earth, the tail light, and the brake light. Then I need some corresponding pins. I need to cut and crimp them on to the cables, put it into the block connector, and plug the light in. Super simple. I've also got 2 cables here that go to a little LED license plate light just under the brim of the mudguard here. Just illuminates the registration and the license plate in the back of the bike. That's a legal requirement in the UK, so a nice neat solution is a tiny wee LED, literally just glued to the underside. And I've got 2 cables running up here to wire it in with. They just need to be hooked into the tail light connections, so there's an earth and a live, just so that light comes on when the bike starts. That's not ideal, is it? Ideal. The little LEDs that I glued under the mudguard just caught fire. Can't really figure out why either. I can't see anything shorting or anything. I'm not entirely sure what's happened to them, but you can see it just sort of melted. Don't know enough about LEDs really to figure that one out. So they're gonna have to be replaced. I might have to rethink that a little bit. The good news is the brake light works. Well, that wasn't ideal, but I'll just go online and buy another LED to replace that. I'm sure that won't be a problem. I'm not entirely sure what the issue was. The wiring is all correct, so I think just a faulty LED unit, unfortunately. Easy fix. Aside from that, really pleased with that tail light. I think it looks great and it suits the style of the bike. So that's a good result in my book. I know I said in the last episode that I'd have an overview build video for you soon, and I will. When the tank has fully cured, that's kind of held me up a little bit. When the tank's fully cured, I can polish it and then it'll look a little bit better on video. There's a little bit of orange peel I want to sort of clean up a little bit. And then I can get that mounted, get the seat on, and then more or less the bike is done. And I can do a little bit of video, show you some close-ups of some different parts that you maybe haven't seen before. And then the next thing to do really is to get this thing insured, taxed and MOT'd, and then take it for a shakedown. So that is something I'm looking forward to. It is March just now in Scotland and the weather is not ideal for bike riding, and we're still in a bit of a lockdown situation, so only necessary rides or only necessary journeys are to be made. So I've got a little bit of time until those restrictions get lifted, just to get, as I say, the tank sorted out and get a video put together for you guys. In the meantime, my XS250 over here is just needing a little bit of work done to it. It suffered a little bit over the winter, so I've got a few different things to do to it just to spruce it up a bit for the summer riding to come. Anyway, as per usual, please do give me a like, leave me a comment, and make sure you subscribe to the Shoogly Shed channel for the rest of the videos in this series, and so you don't miss that final video when I put it together. Take care, stay safe, and I'll see you next time. Bye.